My formal diagnosis is focal epilepsy. When I was a child, I had epilepsy. I had petit mal seizures, and I eventually grew out of them. And then it was like 18, 19 years when I started having seizures again. And like, even though I don't remember a lot of that time in my life, but it definitely appeared different than what I think seizures are. And like, even talking to my friends and family about it, I think there's this idea that, you know, if you're having a seizure, your body is shaking and you're unconscious and all that. But a lot of what I experience is not that. Before I was diagnosed with epilepsy, I started getting intense deja vu moments. That's the best way I could describe it at the time. And even though I've had them frequently, a lot of the times once they happen, I can't really remember or describe them perfectly. So it's kind of hard for me to put into words other than just saying it kind of feels like deja vu, but very intense. That was also coming with nausea. The two would coincide. So as the deja vu got worse, I got more and more nauseous to the point where I almost threw up. But once I got to the point of feeling like I could throw up, it would all stop. And then it would be just a lot of recovery after that for a long period of time, a few months. I was constantly exhausted whenever this would happen. I couldn't get out of bed. There's a good 6 to 9 months of my life where I just would go to work every day and come home and just get in bed and be in bed for hours. I felt myself withdrawing too from my friends and my family. I live with 2 roommates, and I feel like a lot of the times I wouldn't even though we lived in the same apartment, I wouldn't see them because I would just want to be in bed sleeping. One morning, I just remember my parents, we were in Utah on vacation, and I remember coming to, and I had no idea what was happening, but there was a paramedic by me, and I kind of startled. And I asked what was going on, and my mom told me that I was having a seizure. And most of that I don't really remember, a lot of that day. But after that too, it was a lot of recovery. My memory was struggling a lot. There was a few months where my roommate was answering questions for me because I couldn't remember what I was watching on TV or stuff like that. I feel fearful a lot of the times, just because I don't know what my day is going to be like. Sometimes when I wake up, I feel like it might be a day where I have a seizure. So I think fear is a big one. Recently, I've had a lot more hope. I think when I started my journey, it was really scary, and I didn't know how to feel about a lot of it. But as time has gone on, I feel more hope. I feel excited that, there are more trials and research going into it, that maybe in the future, something great can come out of this. But a lot more hope about myself, about my future and everything. My seizures are usually, I get a lot of deja vu and nausea. I've had one grand mal seizure, which happened last January 2023. But for the most part, I get a lot of deja vu a few times a month. So the medication I'm on, I have had no side effects. It was the first one I tried after having my seizure, and I've been very lucky that I haven't had side effects. That being said, my seizures aren't fully under control yet, so it's just trying to figure out dosage and whether or not I try something else. But right now I've been very, very fortunate to not have side effects. I haven't experienced any depression and anxiety. I would say that since I started taking medication, a lot of that has gone away. I was experiencing a lot of that before, especially after I would have my episodes of deja vu and nausea. But as time has gone on and the longer I've been on medication, I feel like that's gone away, which is why I'm feeling more hopeful too for the future. I think the one thing I would want people struggling with epilepsy to know is that there's a community of people out there that are there for you and have your back through it all. It can be very scary. I know when I was first diagnosed, it was really scary. And I don't have any other friends or family that have it, so going through that alone was very scary for me. But I found a lot of, groups online, communities of people that were there to help me and guide me through it all. And I think that's so important, is having, not only your friends and family supporting you, but other people that have epilepsy supporting you, because it's very scary. And sometimes I can feel like I'm alone in all of it, and that's not the case. And I think the greatest thing I got out of this was the community of people that are there experiencing it with me and there to support me through it. As time has gone on and I've been on medication, it's still something that I deal with. There are days when I wake up not feeling good and thinking it's not going to be a great day. And sometimes it comes out of the blue. I don't expect it. Like halfway through the day, I feel really sick. And because of that, when I'm at work, I have to let everybody know I'm not feeling good. There are periods of time when I can't memorize things, or all of that becomes a lot harder. And I do see it affect, what I want to do in the future. But I try to be strong every day and remind myself that I have a group of people behind me that are supporting me, and that, life's not over, and this is something that I can push through, and also something that I want to advocate for going forward. I talked about having epilepsy for the first time, like on social media, and to people that I'm not as close with, and I've seen how speaking out and talking about it affects so many people. And I think that's something that's so important, is like, I don't want to hide it. It's part of me, and it's going to be a part of me forever. So if I can spread awareness and advocate for research, then that's like what I want to do. That's what I want to spend my life doing. When I first started my journey with epilepsy, like 2.5 years ago, I was so scared. I remember researching what repeated and intense deja vu could be, and seeing the word seizure and remembering what my childhood was like, and it scared me so much. And I think, 2.5 years later, having gone through what I've gone through, it really, even though it's hard at times, it's also a very empowering thing. I think it's so important to speak up about it. And yeah, I've had people reach out to me based on what I've talked about on social media, and I've seen the impact that my words can have on other people and on our community. So yeah, I want to keep spreading that and encouraging people to, if they feel comfortable with it, talking about it and spreading awareness. And even if it's just to their friends and family, being open with sharing what they're going through is a very important thing to do. I first started experiencing it as a child. I would have told myself it was going to be okay. It happened when I was really young, so I don't fully understand it, but I do remember feeling misunderstood a lot of the times, especially with teachers and classmates and stuff like that, because, I would just stare, and people wouldn't know what was happening. They thought I was just ignoring them or not paying attention and being like a disobedient child. So I would tell myself, to hold on and remember that that's not the case, and that everything's going to be okay. I think in terms of epilepsy research, I really hope that, one day there might be a cure for it. I'm still having seizures a few times a month, so I really hope that as time goes on and I try new medications, or as research goes into it, I can find what works for me. I'm really hopeful that one day I don't experience seizures as much as I do currently.